Hi guys! How are we feeling today? I'm feeling pretty good, but a bit nervous since it's the first time I'm actually talking in a video. I've only done speed builds with music before, so bear with me while I'm fumbling through this new experience. Today we have the first apartment renovation on this channel. It's an apartment for four college girls, and I was very inspired by New Girl and their loft apartment with the exposed brick, and it's kind of run down. I basically just wanted it to have a lot of personality and kind of be colorful and such. One thing they do have in the New Girl loft is a big communal bathroom, and so I went with that kind of idea with showers and bathroom stalls and kind of, as I said, I wanted kind of a run-down feel in the whole apartment. In the bathroom, I used a lot of Discovery University bathroom things, which kind of makes sense. It was that type of aesthetics that I wanted to go for. From my understanding, this is kind of what certain dorm bathrooms look like in the States. I'm not from the States, I'm from Sweden, so we don't really have this in our university housing. I think I would really hate living like this without the privacy or anything. In Sweden, we don't really have dorms like the US has. In Gothenburg, at least, there's dorm like apartments, usually with en suites and like a small room, but you live on your own. It's an apartment, but with a shared kitchen. And people would try to get out of it quite quickly and rent like a real apartment. But it's not that easy because it's queue based. So the housing company distributes the apartments depending on how many days you've collected in the queue. And so it can take a few years before you can upgrade your apartment. Anyway, what I meant to say was that student housing in Sweden is a bit different from the US and a lot more independent, I think. Like they're still counted as apartments and you live on your own and usually not with roommates unless you live in an apartment with roommates and it's usually a large apartment like this thing. Anyway, here I've started to add the brick where I thought it was suitable. I find it really hard to know, where do brick walls usually go? Is it like bearing walls? Or can it be exposed anywhere? Obviously, it probably can. Um, but I always feel like I'm just randomly choosing walls that kind of make sense. I also chose quite neutral wall colors because I was still not completely sure what the aesthetic of each room would be. I'm using a wall color from Eco Lifestyle, I believe, and I really like it. Um, but I don't usually get to use it because I usually build like regular houses and then I prefer to have an actual skirting board. Not that there are a lot of options there, but still, I prefer not having just flat walls with no details or anything. Here I've moved on to the kitchen, and I've used a lot of city living things. Like the counters are really grungy and stuff, and the appliances as well. I was also trying to figure out a way to have that seating by the window and also kind of match it with the rest of the counters. And I thought, genius, I'll just use like island counters all the way around. And didn't realize that obviously that won't work with the appliances. They won't fit seamlessly. So that was quite a fail. But anyway, here I was trying to figure out the best way to have island counters towards the windows and still be able to seamlessly fit all the appliances with the rest. One thing I really hate with kitchen counters is this stupid backsplash that appears on um, those basic counters and that don't appear on the island counters. It is so annoying to have a backsplash that just ends in the middle of nowhere. It's one of the biggest pet peeves I have with kitchens in The Sims. It I never know how to actually like style it so it looks good, and the corners don't match up. Like I don't understand how you could design counters like that. Here I'm just continuing with the kitchen. It's quite dark. Because I wanted to use the like rundown counters or like the icky city living counters. They just had to be black because the other colors are so awful. But it turned out fine, I think. Quite dark, but other than that, it kind of works. I also went with a bar table, which I almost never do in kitchens, so that was quite fun. And I followed through with the whole like mint theme on the appliances and the chairs. And while the apartment is quite run down and stuff, I still wanted it to feel like all the girls had put their own touches to it and tried to make the best of the situation, you know? I wanted to feel like a fun communal space that's a good place to like entertain friends and have social gatherings and such. I almost always use like the same clutter in kitchens: a fruit bowl, that paper towel thing, tea, and some sort of. I know it's not a teapot, but it kind of functions as one. Like for the kitchen, I think there's quite a lot of clutter actually. I'm just not very creative with all the clutter and stuff. But there are definitely other parts of the house that needs more clutter, and I don't think the kitchen really is it. At least if you have a lot of the packs and stuff. As I said before, I kind of wanted a fun, colorful vibe. I know the kitchen's very dark and very black, basically, but you'll see in the rest of the apartment, it's very colorful, which I don't usually do. I usually do like neutral wood tones. Here I'm moving on to like the communal space. I designed the floor plan based around just having enough space for like a TV and like a sitting area just as you come in. In the end, I think I went with the sofa from City Living. In general, I just wanted the whole space to look like they've gotten a lot of things secondhand or like taken their parents' old furniture and stuff and kind of just thrown it together because it was cheap and it just accidentally turned out to be quite a nice look. It does look more put together than that, but still, that was the original idea at least. Here I'm just putting in a bookcase and some flowers and some other clutter and stuff. As I said, they're university students, so I put a lot of books around the place. I'm soon adding a remote, I think, which is one of my favorite things to add in like a TV room, because I think it really adds to kind of the realism. Uh, it's a debug object, so you have to enable testing cheats. So if you uh, do Control Shift C, like a little command prompt will open, and there you can type in testing cheats true, and you can access certain debug objects, like the snow globe I'm adding here, by typing in bb dot show hidden objects and then bb dot show live edit objects. The remote is a live edit object, so it's accessed through bb.show live edit objects. It'll be a really long list of things that shows up, so it's quite difficult to navigate. I've kind of created small rooms with all these debug objects, mostly for myself, but I'm thinking of maybe uploading them uh, like publicly, because I find it so much more helpful to be able to just add a small room and get all of them than having to look through the whole um, like the whole list. Here I'm starting to kind of plan out what each person is going to have in their room. I really wanted them to have very distinct personalities. So this first person is, in my mind, kind of a programmer, maybe either a computer scientist or like an electrical engineer or something. She likes robots, programming, reads a lot of books, and spends a lot of time at her computer and stuff. Uh, I don't usually add these like the robotic station, for example, that's in this room. I like never add all these big machines, or like the microscope or the rocket, or anything that's like huge, because I think they're very oversized. And I never have the space for them. So I really wanted to kind of design the room around being able to fit this robotic station, basically. Um, I started out with quite a gray palette, and it was quite boring, so I changed it all to like a dark wood. Still possibly a little bit boring, but I think like when I get to the details and adding lights and some decoration, it spiced up the place a little bit. Like, I'm a computer engineering student, so I understand that we don't have robotic stations at home, or even at school. But I thought it was a really fun detail to add. I also used the writer's desk, or like the desk that's unlocked through the writing career, I think. Is there a writing career? Yeah, I think it's the writing career. And it really fit the room, I think, with all the books, because I wanted it to be very interested in books. I also used that lamp from City Living, like the wall lamp, with the like metal pipes and stuff. I never get to use it, but I think it's really cool, and I thought it was a really fun detail here as well. While I said the apartment was supposed to be quite run down and stuff, the rooms, or like their personal rooms, definitely aren't. Like, this is quite an expensive room, and the whole apartment came out to be 60,000 simoleons, or like 80,000 simoleons. So it's definitely not cheap, and I'm not choosing things based on the budget, more based on the looks. I thought this lamp really went well with the wall lamp as well. I really like that room, actually. Like, it's a bit dark, but I quite like it. I don't usually go that dark for the bedrooms. I usually end up with something like this room, more like pastel colors, or like if it's a colorful room, yeah, it's usually like this and light. This is the photography student, I believe. I was gonna have it as like an art student with photography and those things, as well as an easel, but I think I just kept it to photography. Yeah, I did keep it to photography. I think I added a piano later on as well. But this is kind of what I imagine like a photographer in city living would I don't know, would live like. Obviously there are different types of photographers and different types of people. Um, but this is one person at least. I imagine her being like a an arts major with like a focus in photography. I don't really know if that's a thing or if you go to different types of courses or schools or something for that or like majors. I don't know. Um, but that was the general idea at least. Very bright, quite colorful, but like muted colors. And fashionable. Like I imagine this person to be quite fashionable. Um, I could imagine what's her name? Miko Ojo. Um, I could imagine her living here if she was a photographer and all of that. But like she's cool. The person who lives here is cool. Um, yeah. It was actually really fun, like decorating this apartment with all the like distinct personalities. Usually, I do an apartment or like build that's for a family or things like that, and so like the aesthetic should still like be cohesive throughout the whole build, as opposed to in this build where I might have gone overboard with the whole like each room should be very distinct. Uh, but yeah, this allowed for more experimentation and kind of allowed me to be more creative, I think. This is the next bedroom. I think this is the person who's like an avid knitter. Um, I've just recently bought the knitting pack. Uh, Nifty knitting, yeah, nifty knitting. So I really wanted to use um, like a lot of the things that came with the pack. So it's she's an avid knitter, but she's like a creative person and like creates a lot of things. So I also had like a candle making station in her room and stuff. Something I found very difficult, not in this build, I don't think, um, was the colors from Nifty Knitting. I love that they added like a pure black and pure white swatch, but all of the other ones are so colorful that I find it really difficult to use. But it's fun in these types of things. Like I kind of design the room around the colors, and obviously that's kind of how you have to do it. But I think the like clutter and all of the items are so cute though. Uh, and it was really fun to use. Together with the Nifty Knitting Pack, I also bought Jungle Adventures. So I found my new favorite mirror. It's the one used in this room, like the wall leaning one. It's so good. I really like using it in these types of rooms, or like a feature mirror in a hallway or something like that. These are also so adorable and quite modern. I really like. There's definitely quite a few gems in the Nifty Knitting Pack. I think, especially with the like pure black, pure white swatches, and oh my god, these hidden like cactuses and like hanging plants and stuff. They kind of make the pack. I think. I also tried to use the OMSP shelf there to place these, but they're not like they can't be placed on tables, which I think is a bit weird. Or maybe it was just too small. I don't know. I'll have to investigate. Moving on to the last bedroom. This is the like athlete, I think. So I wanted her to be like a wellness and fitness person. So I wanted like the yoga mat and the meditation pillow seat, meditation seat, um, and some sort of fitness related, which turned out to be a treadmill. Um, as you can see, the whole room became quite, I don't know, brown or beige, quite boring. So I changed that up here, with like not a lot of color per se, but just not as much beige. I still think it's a bit beige, but it became better once I added some more details. I also had a really big trouble fitting both the yoga mat and the meditation pillow seat, whatever. Um, and I don't know if it's actually usable like that. Um, I should have playtested it, but I completely forgot. But I think so. They're usually pretty okay with that. Like I usually place the yoga mat in quite a lot of places and it's usually fine. As I said previously, not as beige, but still quite muted. Like I didn't want it to have too much color, even if the walls are like green, which is funky. But yeah, no, more focus on the content of the room, if you will, and then the actual color. I also added some posters and like a team photo and stuff. But apart from that, this room is pretty much complete. Uh, and it's the last room of the apartment, so the apartment is also pretty much complete. I think it turned out pretty good. It was really fun doing like four different personalities and stuff. Like you probably already do it, but I would highly recommend it if you don't. It was very fun. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And here are some screenshots of the apartment.